Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 127. It's Christmas Eve. It's a little bit later than our normal podcasting time again this week because of your work again, eh? It's my co-host, Jack. Also my teenage son, nodding. Again, that doesn't come through that well on an audio-only format. But you're here.
Oh.
Just got back from work.
Yes.
So we're recording a little bit later in the evening than normal. So welcome. If you're a new listener, welcome back. If you're a returning listener, we are about to have some family show up, probably in the middle of recording this. So you may hear festive sounds or just people stomping above us or something.
Festive sounds. We'll just say festive sounds.
Festive sounds of people
that works.
stomping above us.
Yeah.
But and then some more maybe rolling in tomorrow, it sounds like. So
Yeah, I thought he was coming tomorrow.
me too. I think that was the original plan, but we're not really doing much. So they are arriving shortly.
Thumbs up.
Right. So I don't know. What have we been up to? Crazy weather here. School was canceled for Friday the day before, which never happens. Like they literally said, we're just not doing school tomorrow. So stay home.
Off, yeah. W.
Sorry, coffee sip. Yeah, so that was great for you and me. I didn't mind that at all. And then last night I went to a bit of a get together down the street.
Right.
As you know, the host of the party is from Newfoundland, right? So I'm looking up the invitation he sent to get it right. I believe
I went to Dollarama and froze my face off.
Right. It was incredibly windy, incredibly cold.
I was like
drifting snow everywhere.
There's drifting snow. I was a little in pain walking across the Fairwood field.
Just getting your face pelted by...
My face was dying.
Yeah, it was a rough... Even just the walk, like, where we went last night for that party was like 15 houses away. But it was, with the wind in our face, it was crazy. So it's called Tibbs Eve, and it's December 23rd in Newfoundland tradition, apparently. It's the day that basically you get together and celebrate with your friends before you get together with your family. It is the idea, with lots of drinking and
actual thing.
Non-sensory. I guess so. I'd never heard of it, but Chuck sent that. So
bizarre.
We hung out there, played some darts, came home.
Oh, you still would.
I won too. Just saying. Came home not super late with your brother. The walk home was easier. The wind was at our back. With the wind in our face, it was pretty intense, but we survived. So, and yeah, then you went to Dollarama to buy whatever you bought and worked today. And I didn't do much today. Just sort of cleaned the house in anticipation of people arriving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're very interesting to talk to right now. Do you have anything you want to say before you're not...
I don't know. I don't have a whole lot.
Well, you can't even contribute at all?
Well, no? I had to finish the thing.
Not a multitasker, eh?
Depends. I mean, at most, I think I multitask games and YouTube.
Yes, but not when you actually have to speak into a microphone, I guess. But I don't know. There's not much else going on. We're just getting ready for Christmas tomorrow, opening some gifts and hanging out with some family all day, it looks like. Turkey and Korean barbecue is our standard meal. So that's happening.
Turkey.
And Korean barbecue.
Turkey.
I know. And gravy and all the fixings. So your mom will be
potatoes
making that, and I'll be doing the Korean barbecue.
Yeah, she made me get turnip.
Ironically.
Why?
The Korean lady makes the turkey and all the trimmings, and then I make the Korean
turnip,
and then I make the Korean barbecue, being not the Korean one, right? But it somehow works, and it's delicious, so we have that to look forward to. I don't know. I'm hoping to keep this episode a little bit short since people are coming, so I say we start talking about wrestling. Agree?
Yes.
All right, so let's take a look at some of this week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, for ratings this week, I had NXT average 705,000 viewers, which is up 5.9%, earned a 0.14 in the key demographic. That's down significant 17.7%. And I don't know if it matters. It's just a detail that NXT was taped in advance, so it wasn't live. And I guess that is the same for next week as well. I don't know if they taped them both at the same time, but they are not live regardless. And then this week's episode of Dynamite.
Holiday Bash.
Right, Holiday Bash. So sort of a special episode, I guess. Average 957,000 viewers, up barely, less than 1% actually, and earned a 0.30 in the key demographic, which is down 9.1%. So it went head-to-head with the second half of a significant college basketball game, and then also the beginning of an NCAA football, like a bowl game, a playoff game, I guess, in the second hour. So decent competition, decent numbers. What do you have? I didn't find it was a very big news week, so I've got a few.
No, there's only a few things I could find. It wasn't like it was another kind of slow week.
I agree, which is fine. It doesn't.
There's a few kind of interesting things to me, but the main thing I found was that Dynamite's gonna get kind of a makeover next year.
I just heard that today. Yeah.
It was confirmed by Tony Khan that also there was kind of like a hype video, I guess, on Rampage, and I guess Rampage will get a new look too. I don't know if it'll be the same, but
Right.
so that's cool. New year, new Dynamite.
Yeah, and you like details like that, so you'll have to
Yeah,
point
so
it out. You'll have to point it out to me when we
It'll
watch it.
coincide with the TBS 1 year kind of thingamajig,
Makes sense,
which
I guess.
is not next week, but I think the week after.
Cool.
Whichever, the 4th.
So something to look forward to.
Yep.
See what are you going to check out Rampage actually watching the show, or just see what? I guess it depends on the card. Rampage is very dependent on
Yes.
what the card is.
It's not
Throw Takeshita on
necessary.
there, we're there, right? But other than that, it takes a lot to get us there. Something seems to have changed within WWE, and that would be their wellness policy. Because
like in a good way, or
Meltzer's reporting this, first of all, to give my source, and that it used to be right that on your third offense you were fired from the company.
right.
So now that seems to no longer be the case, and he gives 3 reasons for that. Care to guess any?
No.
So there are key wrestlers with 2 violations already. Right. So if it's
like didn't Orton that happened to Orton, right?
Right. So there's people they care about that have 2, right? So if they get a third, they don't want to have to fire them. Would be the implication there. Then also they consider themselves to be in a quote-unquote wrestling war, I would assume with AEW, right? And maybe they consider all wrestling competition, I don't know. And the third being that, and I never would have thought of this one, the other 2 I would have thought of, that they may manipulate that rule to get out of a contract, right? Like if you're signed a contract for 3 more years and suddenly in a month you really don't want to be there anymore, you could, in theory, get caught for using drugs 3 times and get kicked out.
But then you gotta use drugs.
But all of a sudden, and I don't know, the speculation is there's been a few people out for a little bit right now, including Riddle. Obviously, that's known.
Yes.
I've heard some speculation on Drew McIntyre and Lashley also being in a bit of trouble. But that's just speculation.
That's interesting. Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me though. That's one of the ones where you kind of sweep under the rug.
That
right?
fits the kind of oh my god, they have 2 now. We should maybe relax the rules because if they get a third, they're important enough. We don't want to lose them, right? Like if it's little mid-carder that we can easily replace, then whatever. But when it's one of your top tier talents, you don't want to be forced to fire them when you don't want to fire them. I guess is the bottom line. What else do you have?
AEW recently filed for the trademark Wrestle Bowl.
I didn't see that.
So,
what guess on a format for what that would be?
The only thing I can think of is I remember a Battle Bowl from WCW, which was that weird tag team lottery that goes into a battle royal.
Oh,
I don't think it'll be that, but that's the closest wrestling comparison I can draw.
Some sort of tournament or battle royal or something.
Or,
I guess I don't know.
Some Super Bowl, kind of close thing. It'll be kind of
around that
Super Bowl season kind of deal. That's the only other guess I have.
I guess they didn't give any details.
I remember
obviously
seeing it was Wrestle Bowl and I think Wrestling Bowl, but they're basically the same.
Yeah.
Okay, wait here. I found it again. So it was Wrestle Bowl, Wrestling Bowl. Some people are saying it could be the next major pay-per-view next year, which that would be interesting, but I don't know what it'll be.
No details at all.
Yeah, even the thing I was reading about is saying it's kind of like Battle Bowl. I don't know. I feel like it would probably be a show maybe with a match type kind of deal.
That'd be cool.
A stipulation pay-per-view.
I'm open to something new.
We love stipulation pay-per-views.
I don't mind them. So depends how they're executed, I guess. Also from the world of Meltzer, claiming that Miro turned down an angle on AEW or in AEW that would have started in September and run up to Full Gear that happened in November. So basically, kind of part of him not being on TV was his choice. He didn't like whatever it was that was offered to him. They didn't give details. He also, Meltzer being the he, suggested that with Lana kind of hinting at Miro in WWE on some of her social media stuff, she gives cryptic stuff where it's kind of almost sounds like Miro's coming back. Meltzer thinks that sort of makes Tony Khan not really want to waste spotlight and time on a guy if he's going to leave the company, right? If you're sort of hinting that you're going to leave,
that kind of makes sense.
Why would I put time into you? I guess that does make sense, right? And
I'm not sure why you go back, but I guess with the new regime, all bets are off.
Yeah. And he used Swerve and Keith Lee as examples of guys who could have left recently but didn't, and now they're getting TV time, right?
That's true.
So that's kind of like
For better, for worse.
Right. I only have 2 more things.
Last one was reportedly Adam Cole's doing much better.
Good.
They've been cautious, but I think it was Meltzer who was saying like he's been doing much better.
Awesome.
Obviously, no timeline because concussions are tricky. But
Yes, for sure.
That's very good.
That is, yeah. It was like he may never come back, and now progressing is good for sure.
I'm very happy with that.
It's not really news, but you and I like Angelico, so I threw it in here.
I love Angelico.
There is a new faction that we're not thrilled he's a part of, but anyways, trademarked by AEW, and that is SAP, apparently standing for Spanish Announce Project for some reason, with the members being Angelico, as we mentioned.
And Chaos Project.
So yeah, Serpentico and Luther. So yay.
Angelico's getting on Dynamite, baby.
Right. So maybe Angelico gets some
there's
time
you were
somewhere.
saying who's like, if you want to do trios, build up matches,
Right,
you're asking
there you go.
There you go.
There's your fodder,
Right.
division fodder.
Yeah, and then you got like enhancement, like Fox and Top Flight. Like this is your like
exactly
another enhancement. No offense to Angelico.
No, because we think he's cool, but
love Angelico.
This is where he's at.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
even his theme's a bop.
And he's cool. He's a good wrestler.
But I miss TH2. TH2 is way better.
They're fun.
They were sick. Jack Evans just fell off the earth, I guess.
He did.
He cartwheeled and flipped off the earth.
He did. He if anyone is capable of it, it would be him.
Yeah.
Anything
that's
else?
all I
got. The only other one I have was I grabbed this morning, surprisingly, Teddy Long with a pretty awful take on the Vince McMahon situation.
Teddy Long, eh?
Part of his quote was, "I just don't see any reason for him to step away." First of all,
okay.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. No, yeah. No, yeah.
And then he continues, and if he wants to come back, let him come back. Let him be Vince. Vince is going to be Vince. Subtext and sexually harass and assault people, and you just gotta let the guy be himself, you know? If being himself is a criminal and, violating other human beings, I guess we should just let him be
He's
Vince.
just gonna do it, you know how he is. Might as well let it happen.
Just Vince being Vince, So yeah, I was like, wow, what a really awful take. But then it was sort of, he's had something like, although, like hedging, right? Like, although I'm not really up on all of the details as some people are. Well, obviously, I would hope then don't say anything, probably, until you are up on the details of this monster. But anyway.
Yeah, well, that's fun.
Well, that's going to wrap up our news, I guess, and we'll move into our most in-depth review of each week, and that's taking a look at this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. All right, tell us about, what was this one called again? Holiday something?
Yes.
Bash.
Yeah.
Nice. I was like, they probably went for
Smash.
alliteration, but no, they didn't.
What would the alliteration
That's why
be?
I didn't guess one, because I couldn't think of one quickly.
Holiday.
Ho, ho, ho.
Holiday ho ho ho. That's your show name.
That's my guess.
Holiday ho ho ho.
Holiday Holly.
Uh-huh.
Holiday. That's all I got. I don't know. That's why I guessed it was Bash, because
Hoedown.
Holiday Hoedown? Yeah, they could do that.
No, that'd be like
That'd work.
Fallon Henley, like a
Exactly.
Briggs and Jensen match type.
We'll
Holiday
get there.
Hoedown.
You did enjoy them this week. It might come up later.
No.
You watched a bit of NXT with me.
It's either Bash or Smash for this one, because they got New Year's Smash
Right.
next week, so it's one of the two. It's either Bash or Smash.
And they rhyme. That's perfect. Anyways, start talking about it, I say.
Okay. I mean, I guess I can.
It is your job, after all.
Sure.
I mean, you get paid vast amounts of money to do this.
From the millions.
From the millions.
And millions.
And millions of listeners.
All right. So first we hear from Ricky Starks, which I thought was kind of an odd way to start, but all right.
Glad he's still relevant.
Yeah.
Right? So I was happy to see him, actually.
Yeah, it at least didn't kind of fall back.
After losing to MJF, it seems like they're trying to hold his position, which is good.
Yeah.
Because they haven't always done that.
They kind of put him up, then dropped it a bit. Then
kind of didn't with Wardlow. I would suggest kind of didn't with Jungle Boy. I would suggest kind of didn't with Hobbs, right? So there's a bit of a track record of like building someone up and then.
Although with Hobbs, he's at least been getting these packages. He's been getting the vignettes, so there's a little something.
But I feel like there was a gap in there when him and Starks
a little
were hot,
bit, yeah.
And then
he kind of got. At least he also kind of got in the TNT nonsense, but yeah, there was kind of the.
But now he seems back, which I'm happy about.
Anyways, Starks was talking about how he wishes he was a champion, but at least he has dignity, unlike MJF. He said there will be a next time when he gets to face MJF again. And he says if he had to work his way to a title shot, he'll knock him down. He said he'll be the man on here because he is absolute. And then Jazz come out because that's what we all wanted to happen.
Of course it is.
Yep. Jericho said he guarantees that Starks will be world champion someday, but he's not quite ready yet. He thinks that he can help Starks reach the top in AEW, so he extends the invitation to join Jazz, which obviously he accepts immediately.
Who wouldn't?
Exactly. Starks praised Jericho for constantly evolving. He said Jericho looked like an air fryer.
That made me laugh.
Yeah. And he mocked Jericho for looking like a single father on his 5th divorce.
Also made me laugh.
And then he said, hell no, he doesn't want to join, which baffled me.
Right?
Like,
there's a career killer for Starks.
Yeah, like you were worried about him dropping down. Well, I think he just plummeted
immediately.
Yeah, like what an idiot. Starks ripped on Jericho for losing at Action Andretti last weekend. He said that Jay and Jess should stand for Jobber, which then I thought, so they're the Jobber Appreciation Society.
And Jericho's obviously getting furious at these comments about him losing, especially.
Starks suggested a match against Jericho on the 4th, which would be the TBS 1 year, I guess, or whatever, and then also that is, I think, when we'll see the new look.
The new set.
Yes.
Nice.
And then Hager attacks him from behind wearing the purple hat that he may or may not love.
He loves it.
Oh, okay, he does. He does love it.
He has professed
Jericho went to attack Starks with the bat while Jazz were holding him. Then Andretti made the save. Jazz would attack him one by one, as you do.
As you do.
And then he hit the split leg of moonsault to Jericho.
That is true.
Yeah.
So yeah, on the plus side, right, feuding with Jericho and Jazz is going to keep Starks relevant and on TV. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's not the most exciting feud for me, really.
It's not. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like I wasn't exactly thrilled when they came out, and I thought both promos were fine.
Me too. Starks did a good job.
When they came out, I wasn't thrilled, but they are moving on from Blackpool.
That is the plus. And did it sound to me, or to you, because it did to me, because at first I'm like, okay, so fine, he's going to work his way to Jericho, but it sounds like he's going straight to Jericho. Because I thought this will sort of continue his build. He can beat the underlings decisively, right? And then build to a big match.
I'd like to see him face Guevara. That'd be really cool.
And even Garcia, right?
Yeah.
Thinking it would be an extended program, because Jazz seems to do extended programs for a year almost. But anyways, I digress. So yeah, he's involved with a main eventer guy, top of the card guy. So that's good. And I don't know. And yes, as you said, at least Jazz is with somebody other than Blackpool Combat Club, right?
This is like a definitive moving on kind of.
Starks did a really good job. Some good shots at Jazz. Entered the crowd was super hot pretty much all night, but especially for Starks here. And I guess it got Andretti on TV again. The reaction didn't seem quite as strong as it was last week with the match with Jericho.
I guess they're trying to sustain the man.
I think so, and I'm not a huge fan of his, but I get that they're going to try and build somebody new here. So I thought this was a good segment to start, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Just the only thing was they looked really dumb going after him one by one.
That is true.
And getting taken out, and they were still holding Starks for no one. It was weird.
Yes.
And it was dumb. Anyways, next we get what should have started the show, which is Elite versus Death Triangle in the Best of 7 Series match 5. Which is no DQ.
And the Elite must win to stay alive in the series, right?
Yeah, because it's 3-1 Death Triangle.
Right.
Triangulo de la
So what could happen? So the series is over, obviously, right?
This is it.
This is it.
Obviously. So I'm saying they should start a show with a bang. Boom. Series killed.
Yep.
Some notables, there are consecutive corner moves by the Elite. Then Knack hits one. Then Cutler in an elf costume tries to hit one. Then Alex gets in the way. Then gets cold sprayed. Then Cutler hits a corner move and dabs before getting taken out by Pento, that was pretty funny. Lucha Bros send Matt into a Christmas tree in the corner. Pat goes to stomp on the chair around Nick's ankle. Omega throws a trash can at him to stop it. Matt takes out Lucha Bros with the moonsault to the outside. Then Omega hits the fireman's carry and then does the moonsault from the middle rope with a trash can, which is cool.
Yeah, it looked cool.
Which gets a 2 count. Omega attacks Phoenix with he got the barbed wire broom, which
Of
is kind of a
course.
callback to, I think it was the first Lights Out match he used that, because I remember I got that in one of those accessory
And the
packs.
broom is
And
his thing.
the cleaner, yeah.
Yes.
So he had a guitar crusher on that, which is pretty cool. Matt put Penta through a table later on with an elbow drop to the outside. Then Nick.
Was there blood?
That was after the match.
Right.
Nick put Pac through a table with the Swanton on the outside. Then Omega hit Phoenix with a Tiger Driver again on the barbed wire broom for a 2 count. Phoenix countered the one-winged angel and Hurricane Rana for near fall. He hit Omega with the hammer again, but this time Omega kicked out on like the first match. The finish comes with a Meltzer Driver on the chair, gets the win for the Elite. Then after the match, Pac and Penta go after them a lot, and Nick gets busted open with a hammer. Like,
right.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, another really strong match in this series. They're not going to have a bad match. We've said it a ton before. Lots of high spots. We get weapons, Christmas trees, trash cans, barbed wire brooms, hammers. The hammers that are playing a role in basically every match, right? So that's kind of nice. But again, another match that's different than all the rest so far. It felt short to me, but it was 14 minutes when I went back and looked. I thought it felt quicker than that.
That's good, but like, I definitely didn't think it was 14 minutes.
The finishing Meltzer Driver on the chair looked pretty good,
that was
right?
Pretty
so
sweet.
It's not my favorite of the series, but any of the 5 matches are all like really good to awesome, so it doesn't really matter. Still a really good match. Agree that if you flip the order of this and the segment before it, that would have been awesome. Like, this is your opener, and then
that would have been a lot better.
Not quite a hot segment to follow, but a good segment to follow, right? But yeah, really good match again.
Yeah, I liked it, and again, it stands out. So that's, I think, something that they've done a really good job with throughout the series, which each one kind of stands out. I think this one was really well done too, and it's still kind of the opening match, so as such, it's still really good. It is odd as the main event, but I think it works as the opener too to get the crowd hot, because I think it either has to be the opener or the main event. I don't really want this, and kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
So I think either opening or, I mean, I guess it's not opening, but you know what I mean. First match on the show.
Right.
There's some pretty sweet spots in here. Again, it was unique, made use of the stipulation pretty well, which I like. I imagine the next Falls Count Anywhere one, it'll be like a ramped up version of this. So that should be pretty great. And I mean, the Bucks have been in a 6-man Falls Count Anywhere before, because that was with that Adam Cole. And that should differentiate itself again, I think. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. I thought the finish was pretty cool too. Looked pretty gnarly after Nick getting busted open with the hammer. Like, I thought that looked pretty nice, and I like that they kind of are attacking them while Phoenix was down. So like, Phoenix was kind of like
had no part of it.
And then he kind of tried to like kind of hold them back after. So I thought that was kind of well done. Great match to start us off. Looking forward to the next one.
For sure.
Cool. So now it's 3-2.
That's right. Still must win.
I wonder if it'll be 3-3.
Who could say?
I don't. It's hard to tell.
Seems improbable.
Yeah, I don't think so. They'll probably end it next week.
I would think so. Who wants to see more of this?
I don't want to see. I actually don't like ladder matches. I think they just,
especially with these 6.
They're just, these
jobbers.
Guys suck. I don't want to watch them anymore. It's so boring. Like that week when they didn't have a match, that was the best show.
You were so happy.
Oh, it was the best show. So next we get an MJF bit from last week post match. And he was calling Danielson a gutless coward, and that was supposed to be his moment. He beat Starks clean.
Obviously.
Then Danielson tried to attack him from behind afterwards. He calls Danielson a worthless scumbag, and everyone wants to ride off of him. It was a really short bit, and it was amusing when he said he won clean. So it was a pretty short dose here, but I still thought it was really good.
Yeah, standard heel MJF. Not a lot here, and I was interested to see what Danielson was going to say, and also what their, like, an actual high stakes MJF Danielson match will look like, even though I don't think Danielson's winning at this point.
But
I'm
MJF's
into it.
like, where he can make it believable because he'll just cheat.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
It's easy. Next we get equal star power, Action Andretti.
Yep. For the second time in the first half hour of the show or whatever, right?
Yep. So we get an interview with Action Andretti. He talks about how he did the impossible and beat Jericho, and it's what some people are calling the biggest upset of the decade. I mean, we're only 2 years into the decade.
They are pushing that verbiage, though, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're not that far into the decade. So,
true, that is true.
So, sure, I guess. It's not like we're in 2019 where that would be a stretch, but we're in, like, sure, third year of the decade, I guess.
Yep.
He says he knew Jazz would take out the anger on anyone, so he had to have Starks back. 2.0 come in, says he's on a hot streak, and Menard says he's on fire, and then he gets fireballed.
Really good fireball.
Yeah,
Looked,
it was unlike WWE
no,
before.
this one looked really solid,
Yeah,
I
what was
thought.
that? It was Scarlett and McIntyre, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
That they kind of screwed it.
I think maybe they need to pump the brakes a little bit on this kid, because like I said, this is his second time on this show already. Because there's a lot of people missing from TV, right? That I would like to see on TV. But I thought he sounded pretty good here, a lot better than, I don't know why, but I'm comparing him to Dante Martin, right? Just a young, talented, athletic wrestler. But this guy seems to be a little bit better on the mic. Not amazing. And like I said, I thought the fireball hit really well.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we're a lot of Jas and Andretti to begin this show, right? Which is
Twice,
not
right?
ideal for me.
Yeah.
Twice in the first probably 40 minutes or whatever this
Mhm.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Andretti spoke all right, nothing great, though. I think he's okay.
Yeah, he was fine.
I thought Menard's line before the fireball was funny, and then according to commentary, Andretti's the man now, so he's the man.
He is the man.
Becky Lynch level push coming.
Absolutely. I think somewhere I heard part of what Jericho really likes about him is his promo ability too. So we'll see. Like I didn't think it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like The Rock or
but
anything.
I still don't with Starks.
Right.
I still don't get what the deal is.
I don't know either, but who knows? Hopefully we end up liking him. I would love to like him, obviously.
Yeah.
So far I'm kind of jury is out.
Maybe not with the name, but
yeah. Well, I think it's almost like he's supposed to sound and look like super indie guy that Jericho's getting over. I don't know.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because whose name is Action?
Action Jackson.
Okay, whose real name is Action?
I don't know. Nobody.
So next we hear from Bryan Danielson. Nice.
With Renee in the ring, right? I think this one.
Yeah, when I was looking at the thing from TJ, he was joking that it's a Talking Smack reunion.
Oh, right. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Bryan said he doesn't expect the Blackpool Combat Club to be okay or whatever because Regal did some bad things.
Yeah. They're not going to forgive him, but he will, sort of.
He talked about he trained to wrestle in San Antonio at Shawn Michaels School. He was trained by some other guy in Michaels. He said that the man that turned him into a pro wrestler he is today is Regal, and he said Regal made him the person he is today. He said he cried when Regal was in the hospital because he made everything better. And Bryan shared about how there are consequences for MJF's actions and words calling Bryan a coward. Then he gets interrupted by Ethan Page, which surprised me, but I was happy about that.
I think that's a really nice spot for Page.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, and I'll talk about that after. But
yep.
Ethan trashed him. He was saying, called him Vegetable Man.
Yes.
And he was like kind of berating him for thinking that he should jump ahead of the line for the title shot. And Hathaway trashed him too, and Bryan made fun of Hathaway's bald head while questioning the Vegetable Man line. And Page threatened to make him into a vegetable, and then Bryan challenged him to a fight, and then Page was saying, let's do it next week, and so MJF was watching backstage, and that is that.
Yeah, I really liked Danielson's promo, passionate, felt real, right, what he was saying, which I think parts of it are basically his stuff about Regal, I think is pretty real, right, so and his training and upbringing and all of that. And then he got really fired up, right, when he switched to talking about MJF.
Yeah, and I kind of like that.
So I like that a lot. I thought the bald jokes out of nowhere were kind of cheesy and felt WWE.
That doesn't feel Danielson.
No, it didn't. And then I sort of hinted at, I really like Page being inserted into this angle as just like an obstacle for Danielson before he gets to MJF, right? And they'll have a good match. And if they give Page more time to talk, he's a great talker. And he had really good heel heat from the crowd here, right? Like they hated him, I think, in the right way. And it's cool because he seems to be getting established as like a significant singles guy, right? Which we've always really liked him. So I'm really happy for him.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think he's going to be a main event dude, but in the spot he's in right now is pretty good for him. So I like it.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. It kind of started okay when Danielson got more amped. I thought it was a lot better. And I like the prospect of an MJF Danielson feud. I think that meshes really well on paper. It seems we'll have to wait a bit, but I was really happy for Page, like you're saying. Like I think this is a pretty prime spot to be in a feud with Danielson, so it's good for Page for not falling back into irrelevancy after the initial firm push, like kind of like Starks.
Yeah, exactly.
It may be short lived, but this no doubt gets him more screen time, so I'm here for it. And then eventually Danielson MJF, which is also good too.
Yep.
And I just thought it would be funny if the next challenger that MJF has, Page also faces them first. Because he also faced Starks
before
MJF did. So it's kind of like the Firm is still the stepping stone before MJF,
Yep.
even though they broke off
right away, basically.
It's probably just a coincidence, but I do think it's kind of amusing.
Could happen.
So I mean we'll see, but that's funny. Anyways, great for Paige because that's a good spot.
Good Canadian boy.
Next we got Moxley promo, and he was talking about Hangman and saying it's a glass jaw. As I was about to cough. Glass jaw. And then he was talking about Darius Martin because he's going to face him later tonight. He's going to teach him a hard lesson, and they've got a match later. Yeah.
I like this. It was quick, but it was Moxley, I don't know if heel's the right word, but he's basically unleashing his aggressive side again, right? And, excuse me, I like the logic of, like, because you got knocked out in a fight doesn't mean you suffered, like, a grave injustice that entitles you to a rematch. He's kind of like, we were in a fight, I knocked you out, and you're mad about it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Right? So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of amusing. Like, yeah. But I thought it was, like, a cool take, too.
Yeah, there's some logic in there. So I think this was just, like, previewing the ass-kicking Mox that we get a little bit later in this match.
I think it can come off as heel, like, because Hangman's, like, uber babyface, but, like, I don't know, like, you can also kind of put it as, like, a tween kind of thing spot, which I kind of like, because, like,
me too.
It's a little more aggressive, so it kind of allows it to work as a heel thing here, but then, like, say this is done, he doesn't, like, it's not, like, then say he's babyface, he's not, like, reverting back, you know what I mean? Because it's still, like, that kind of gray area kind of thing.
I hate to make the comparison, but, like, Austin would be the same. Like, I knocked you out in a fight, I'm not apologizing for it. Like, why do you think you get something because I knocked you out, right? So I kind of liked it. It was quick.
Yeah, I thought it was funny saying Darius is injury prone because that kind of seems to be the thing.
That does seem to be true.
And it feels like a really odd match for Moxley. Like, I know sometimes he, like,
completely out of nowhere
gives a spotlight to other people, like, but this just feels weird.
It does.
Even though, like, it's hyping up that trios battle royal.
Yeah.
It's still weird.
And Dante gets singles matches, but usually only because Darius is injured, right?
Yeah,
so Darius in a singles match is strange.
Yeah, and Dante's just, like, I feel like he's at least got, like, that insane athleticism where I think Darius is really good.
Yeah, but not to
but
that
he
level.
doesn't have, like, the standout quality that,
I
like,
agree.
and it's not like Takeshita where there's that standout quality where I want to see him get a showcase. It's like Darius is like, I don't know, it's weird. We'll see him later. I still kind of stand by that, but
yeah, I do. I don't disagree.
It's just kind of weird. Anyways, pretty good for a short promo. Speaking of short promos, next we get Samoa Joe. He's just talking about he's gonna beat Wardlow on next week, Holiday Bash. No, New Year's Smash.
But he's like all dressed nice and speaking calm.
And I thought it was funny because he's like he's wishing him a happy holidays and whatever, and but he's like it'll end then, and so I thought this was pretty cool. It was mostly basic, but I thought he delivered it well. I liked how he did that, and I hope he wins next week. I got doubts, but I hope he wins next week.
I think it shows his range, right? Because you get angry, screaming Samoa Joe
last week.
Is awesome, and this calm, friendly, like but still kind of menacing is really cool. So I thought this was, and he's just dressed nice, and he's all just kind of relaxed, and it's a holiday theme. I thought it was really good. So just something different from Joe.
Yeah.
And it's at Wardlow's expense, which is fine. I also don't want him to lose to Wardlow, but
I got doubts.
Me too, unfortunately.
Next we get Hook versus Exodus Prime, who's the guy I saw on Rampage take a powerbomb. Really
cousin of Optimus Prime, probably. I would think.
Right.
Yeah.
When I saw him take the powerbomb from Wardlow, he took the powerbomb and like spiked up and landed on his stomach. I thought it was Sean Dean.
Oh yeah. No.
It's not Sean Dean.
Optimus Prime. Exodus Prime. Sorry. Exodus Prime.
Right.
Big debut.
There's a cradle suplex and a big lariat by Hook. Crossface blows, Red Rum, Hook wins. Then we cut to backstage. Morrissey and Moriarty are beating up Boy Perry. Well, Hathaway speaks to Hook.
Who's Morrissey?
Morrissey.
Who?
Morrissey.
Big Bill? Large William? Big Bill.
No.
Yes, they take out Jungle Boy in a dumpster.
They chokeslam them into a dumpster, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Squash match. Okay. Post match is kind of cool though. I thought the chokeslam looked cool.
I didn't think Hook seemed as popular as he once was because he's been gone. Like I forgot he was a champ. Not that it's a real belt, but that he had any sort of anything.
Yeah, and he didn't do as much here either.
Another guy that they sort of let lapse a little bit, and my interest has waned a little bit.
To be fair, I don't know how much they could have done to keep
I don't know
him
how ready he is to do anything.
Because his thing was kind of thinly. It was kind of shallow.
Yes.
I guess. Like, not that he was bad. Like, he was pretty sweet, but like, it was kind of like Wardlow. It's like, how long can you keep doing these squash things? And
Yes.
like and he was then off TV for a bit, I feel like.
He was, for sure.
But like couple that with like you can only do the squash match excitement for so long.
Right.
So I think I agree, it definitely has kind of plateaued a bit here.
I think so.
Which I mean, hopefully they do kind of. I feel like
Sounds like there's people up there.
I feel like, I mean, hopefully they can bring it back, because to their credit, although they, like we've been talking about, they kind of have dropped the ball. Some people, they kind of have been doing a good job of kind of recovering from that, like Hobbs and Starks and
afraid
even
Wardlow's coming back probably to more prominence.
But I guess that's good. I mean, if they can make it better, then I'll.
Yep.
Because I did like it at first, but then it just kind of.
I agree.
Fizzled out, because I wish it could have been like a Batista kind of thing. But anyways, a little off topic, but this was fine. Hook's like, I don't know, hopefully Hook's cool again, because he was cool.
He was.
So hopefully that kind of recovers. And as he's walking up the ramp, Moxley's music hits, so we're cutting right into Moxley and Darius.
Yeah, I kind of like when segments bleed. NXT's done this before.
Yeah, they haven't done that in a while.
No.
I feel like they don't do it a whole lot, but I do kind of like, it kind of has like a fast flow to it.
Right, it's just we don't have time for a lot of extra stuff. We're going right into the next thing. Like, we got a lot going on.
I kind of liked it.
Me too.
But the only downside is Mox comes through the crowd, so you don't get like the crossing path thing with Mox and Hook, which I think would be kind of cool. Just to kind of
breadcrumb that.
Yeah. I thought that would have been kind of cool, but I digress. So Moxley, Darius Martin next. Some of the notables. Moxley sent him into the barricade, or throwing him in the ring, and then kind of talking to Dante Martin, like, I don't know, taunting him or whatever, or something like that. And then Darius hits him with a suicide dive. There's a stomp to the elbow by Mox, superplex by Mox, and they hammer and anvil elbows right in front of Dante. There's a strike exchange. Moxley got the better of it, but with a kick to the knee. Then he goes after the bad leg of Darius, injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
There's like this weird Pele kick off the middle turnbuckle for two by Darius. Didn't get all of it, but it was kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Darius hit a crossbody, but Mox rolls through, hits the wrist capture stomps and the hammer and anvil elbows, then eventually get a paradigm shift for the win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty... Mox looked really aggressive, right? It kind of did what it needed to do. He needed to beat somebody up. This was like 9 minutes. Darius got a little bit of time here. It's a way for Mox to get a win on TV and show like just that general aggression that's coming out again. But my question was, why not swap out Dante Martin, who completely felt random, for like Evil Uno in this capacity, right? Because it's kind of
Silver.
Or Silver. It's kind of more related to the larger story that's going on here. But that being said, it wasn't a bad match. It just was super hard to care about because you know who's winning, and it's basically there was just randomly thrown together.
Yeah, and for me, it wasn't as much like who's winning, because sometimes that's okay, because like Moxley Takeshita, love it.
Didn't bother me in this main event either.
Right, and yeah, exactly that too. But like I feel like there's like I don't find Darius that interesting, and like I said, he's solid. Like I'm not trying to put him down or anything, but he's just not that interesting to me. Like Dante, he's got that insane leap, being vertical, and the athleticism. Like that makes him interesting to me.
Yes, he's got something special about him.
That'll stand out in matches. I think Darius is good.
He is,
and I think he's more interesting alongside Dante. But I don't really care to see him. Yeah, he's the Marty Jannetty.
Which
not saying Dante's a Shawn
Marty
Michaels.
Marty Jannetty was really, really good, but
like he's not that interesting, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd rather see Moxley face Angelico even.
Yep.
Just
Angelico. It's the Angelico episode.
Hear that theme. His theme's sick. I was listening to that in the car because it's on my playlist.
Watch his subtle dancing.
I love his dance. He's so funny.
He is funny.
And then he just like takes out the jacket. He's like, he's awesome. I love Angelico.
He's cool.
Yeah. So Mox made him look good too. And
he did.
Like it helps considering I don't remember the last time I've ever seen him solo, because it's a lot.
Either.
You get a lot of spotlight on Dante. I guess it's a little hype for that weird thing they're doing. And then I also wrote this in my notes, so this will be funny. And Angelico is in that with Chaos Project. There's some dark faction now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean on dark.
Yeah.
God, I miss TH2. They were sick. Their theme is a bop. To be fair, Angelico's theme now is also a bop, but I doubt they'd use that on Rampage. One can hope, right?
We can, but
that is verbatim what I wrote.
Nice. They might get rid of it for a faction theme, though.
That's what I was thinking, which is another reason I don't like him in that faction.
Right.
Next we get a quick Shia Hater package. Not much to say. It was just kind of hyping the match, but I thought it was solid.
Yeah.
Every bit was spoken well. Good for them, because they said this is the main event, so good for them for getting that spot.
Yes, I agree. Cool. And I think delivered in it too. So yeah, absolutely. This was just a short standard.
Last time I remember them doing that was also Sheet. I think it was Sheet and Deeb. I think when they had that kind of the street fight that kind of under delivered
with their definitely
the never ending
series of
too.
matches, right? Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of was a downward
A
spiral.
little bit.
Like the Star Wars sequel.
Right.
Then we get, quote, the next chapter in the Book of Hobbes.
Yeah,
One would maybe say he's an author of pain.
he is. Definitely some pain there, for sure.
Yeah, he was talking about his rough upbringing, saying he was beaten, stabbed, and shot as a child, which that's nice to hear.
Yeah.
He watched his uncle die of an overdose. He said they were monsters, and now they create a monster themselves. And he's focused on turning the next chapter. I thought it was really cool.
Me too.
More background on Hobbs makes him come across as a badass, and so he had a little bit on Rampage. That was cool too. It was really cool. I like how he delivered to it. I thought that was a really nice bit. Like, I think this is a cool thing to do for him.
Me too. It's keeping him relevant if he can't get in matches. These little segments that,
And he's got like a name to it, which kind of gives it a gimmick, if you know what I mean.
and it also builds in some like empathy for him, right? So if he's out there like just violently killing people
Yeah, it's
in
like
matches,
the best
you
villains
kinda
are
get
the
it.
ones where you can kind of see,
Right, his origin
understand where
story.
they're coming from, right?
Right.
So
that's what we're getting with these, and I think they're really good,
I think it
and
was really cool.
they sound like they're really true, which is a pretty crazy life he's led. So yeah, I really like these segments so far.
Next we get Guns versus FTR. Guns are wearing Bret Hart gear,
Yes.
which is pretty funny. Notables, we get a couple of atomic drops and a back elbow to Cash, or by Cash to Colton. Cash makes a tag out to Dax, a hot tag flurry. Guns go for a spike pile driver on the outside to Dax, but Cash takes out Colton with a suicide dive. Couple of dive attempts from Cash. So much for no flips, just fists.
That's usually when they get into trouble.
Yeah, that's yeah, I guess that applies. Austin locks Dax into sharpshooter until Cash breaks it. The finish comes with Dax rolling up, Austin with an O'Connor roll, but Austin rolls it over, then Colton holds his arm for the assist. Guns pick up the cheap win over FTR. Yay.
I honestly was a bit interested to see what FTR could get out of these guys. I thought it was a pretty good match. A TV tag match. Surprising finish for sure. FTR looked awesome as they always do, just fast and aggressive and crisp on everything. And I guess for whatever reason they are trying to elevate the Guns, right? I don't think it's a great look for the ring general FTR team to be getting like outmaneuvered by the Guns.
Even though
there,
it's like it's cheap, it still feels like the kind of thing like I still don't love it, even though they like you could cheat better, you know.
FTR should be too smart to have that happen, but I feel like FTR still like hasn't quite been given the ball to run with in this company.
It's really weird.
I guess it's because they're stacked with talent and whatnot, and like just in terms of timing, the Acclaimed got hot.
So you got to build up Jared and Lethal, obviously.
Right, obviously. So they're just. We've said it about FTR. They're it's a blessing and a curse. They have the ability to like lose but stay popular and relevant, right? So unfortunately, it's
kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's a bit of the curse right now for them.
Yes.
But I thought this was a pretty good match for the Guns for sure. Probably credit to
solid.
FTR.
I don't think you're ever gonna have a bad FTR match. It just wasn't great in my opinion. I just don't think the Guns are that good. They're just really boring and they reek of mediocrity. They don't.
One of them is very new to wrestling, apparently.
Which one?
I think. I'm not sure. Colton.
Long hair.
I think the leaner
sure.
one.
Okay,
the taller, leaner
Colton.
one. I think he hasn't been wrestling.
They
very
don't
long.
really offer a lot for me, and they don't offer a lot here either. And the FTR is capable of so much better, so it kind of makes it a little more blatantly obvious. They shouldn't have lost this or the dog collar match. It's just kind of annoying because I assume it means that FTR can't quite be done with this because it wasn't clean. So.
That I would think so.
That kind of sucks, and I missed them with triple titles. That was a stupid decision. Anyways, this was fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Next we got a Jared and Co promo. It was just doing a weird rap. I wasn't able to get notes for this, so I don't know. It was supposed to be like kind of a parody thing.
I thought it was funny.
I thought it was interesting. Like the obvious plus side is that Jarrett didn't speak because that's what I was expecting.
That is in my notes as well. And it's different because they tend to do the same thing every time.
That's true. I didn't love it because I don't think it was great. Like I don't think it was far enough that it was amusing as a parody.
I think it was intentionally bad.
Right?
Yeah,
I don't think it was like.
I liked it.
Bad, funny enough though.
Okay, I thought it was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Next we get Swerve and Keith Lee's air quote meeting, mediated by Rick Ross. Why is Rick Ross here? I don't know.
We'll find out.
Who's Rick Ross? I still don't know. Do I want to know? No. For all the rappers that Swerve brings in, I think Rick Ross is my least favorite. He just annoys me.
According to this, Colton Gunn has only been wrestling since 2020.
which would have been he was in AEW then.
Yeah, basically.
So his entire AEW career.
Right. So I mean, that's okay. Anyway, sorry.
I guess.
Carry on with this segment.
I don't know why. I find Rick Ross really annoying.
I think he does an okay job. I don't mind him.
It just kind of irritates me.
He doesn't bring any star power for me because I don't know who he is really, other than what I've sort of heard since he's been here. But it's not like, hey, I know this guy, but I don't think he does a bad job.
It's a bit of a detractor for me.
Yeah.
Keith Lee came out and Rick Ross said he's a big.
Just dropped an F-bomb right on live TV.
Just okay, yeah. So and then he said they had history to make. Then Swerve comes out.
And one thing, it was bothering me at first, but then it made sense because I even wrote in my notes. Ross drops an F-bomb and seems to be killing time, right? It was kind of awkward. But then Swerve came out and was like, I'm not coming out on Keith Lee's time, I'm coming out on mine. So that was like, oh, okay, and then I kind of like that, right? That he's like, I'll let it be awkward for a little bit because I'm coming out when I want to come out, not when I'm supposed to come out, sort of thing.
He didn't use his theme, though, so that sucked.
No, that's true.
Yeah, so he said he'll do things his own way. He warned Lee to keep eyes in the back of his head from now on.
And the crowd hated him in the right way, so that's cool because Swerve is awesome.
Yeah.
Lots of heat for him.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Okay. So then Parker Boudreaux attacks Lee from behind. And I hate how he does it. Like, he'll punch him once and he's just like, ah.
Yeah.
And after every freaking thing he does, I'll talk about it after, but he's the worst, okay? He's so bad. I hate him so much. Why couldn't he just stay as Harlan when he didn't really talk or anything?
He looked menacing then. He looks less menacing now.
He looks far less menacing now, and I didn't think he looked good as Harlan either. Lee just throws him out with a clothesline on the top rope, so few punches. He's like, all right. Then Lee goes up the ramp to go after Swerve, and Tattoo McGee comes out and
who I still don't know who it is.
Big dude with
what's the name of the group now again?
Mogul Affiliates. He's got tattoos all over his face, man. I don't even know if he's got a place on that isn't inked. You know. So he looks like an idiot. I'm just gonna say I don't like his look at all. Rick Ross then said that it's Mogul Affiliates, that's their name. Swerve hit a double foot stomp on the Lee on the step. He was laying on the steps through a cinder block, so that was kind of cool, but that was it.
His real name is Grandin Goatsman.
Oh, good. He has a stupid name too.
And he played minor league baseball.
Oh, good. He's a baseball.
According to Fightful, he's been training at Jay Lethal School for a while, and his AEW debut has been planned for at least a couple of weeks.
He looks so horrible. Anyways,
so
I did not like this a lot.
You did not like
they hyped this up. One of the things is they hyped it up as a meeting or whatever with Swerve and Lee, which sounds cool because they've had some interesting conversations.
Yeah.
But they didn't discuss anything.
No, it got taken over.
It wasn't a meeting.
It was not.
I don't think Lee didn't say anything, and then Swerve barely got a bit in before things broke down. Then my guy Parker Boudreaux resurfaced.
Your guy.
And man, was that lame. All he did was half-ass punch Lee before getting tossed aside, looking like a total chump. Because, you couldn't even make him look good. And then you had Tattoo McGee come in, and I don't know who he is, but man, does he look stupid. Talk about face tattoos, man. That is just, say what you want about Cody Rhodes, but this guy is just... And, Boudreaux, he yells. He does, the weird yelling and mannerisms after every move he does. It does not matter what he does. He'll punch Lee, hit him with a chair,
And then yell.
And then yell. He took a break every time he hit him to do that. And I'm not kidding. Every time he did something, he did that. And it's just so annoying. He's so bad. And... this is not a great segment. It made me concerned for Swerve's direction moving forward. That's the thing here, is they can suck. That's one thing, but I'm worried about Swerve now. He's really cool. I love Swerve. Swerve's awesome. But nothing, and I mean nothing about this screams upward mobility or cool. Nothing about this. And not to mention Rick Ross, who I don't love as well. He adds basically nothing. He was kind of a detractor in ways too, albeit not as much as these two big greenhorns. I didn't like this. This doesn't really do much for me. It kind of concerns me about Swerve, which I don't think is the goal here.
No, it's definitely not.
And especially for a cool, because, Swerve's kind of got the cool rapper thing going on, the whole mogul fit. How did these guys fit that?
I can tell you because I'm pretty sure in real life, Parker Boudreaux has a bunch of connections with hip hop people.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure I remember that from NXT.
But from the look, ew.
I didn't hate this as much as you.
I really didn't like
I'm
it.
not super into it. I don't think Ross was terrible, but I also don't think Swerve needs a mouthpiece. He can speak for himself, and
Absolutely.
he's really good at it. Like I said, Boudreaux with his hip hop connections, if I remember correctly. So
At least there's that, even though he sucks.
I don't think it helps Swerve feel like a top tier talent,
That's what
which
I'm
is
saying.
what I want him to be. Cause
I feel like he felt more like he felt bigger league with Lee.
yeah,
that makes
because
sense?
now he's the leader of a faction with two guys no one's ever heard
And
of.
this
Really.
ain't a hit row thing. Like hit row is that makes sense to me, and that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Swerve might be cool enough to make this work, and who knows? Maybe this. I kind of have seen Boudreaux wrestle, and it hasn't been impressive. The other guy, who knows? Maybe it'll end up being cool, but I'm like not super optimistic about that happening at this point. I'm not as down on it as you are, but it definitely wasn't something I think we needed. I'll say that.
I don't get what it is, and I don't really want it either. Like Swerve would honestly be better off on his own because he's a cool boy.
He is a cool boy.
Then we get a promo package with some of the trios in the Rampage Casino Royale, which is basically just best friends and Dark Order.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that speak. Trent Beretta says he'll buy his mom a new house, and then Chuck says he'll buy a chainsaw, and then Cassie says he'll buy Trent Beretta's mom a new house, which made me laugh for some reason. 'Cause, I don't know, that was just funny. Dark Order speak. Uno says they'll split it even between everyone, which I thought that would be how that works with all the teams, but I guess he was also including like Brody Lee and whatnot, so that's cool, I guess.
Yep.
They ask Hangman not to get involved with Blackpool being in the match, and even though he does. And Hangman asks if this is Friday and then goes to book a flight, so pretty much immediately ignores that. So the best friends bit was amusing. Dark Order was solid too. I guess it builds that match a bit more, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I thought it was a odd little segment, but something different for Rampage. So
I heard that match was pretty cluttered, which I guess if
No
you're
doubt.
entering trios at a time, that's gonna kind
I
of
think so.
make sense, but that's okay.
Yep.
Next we go to our main event, which is our women's match of the week.
Yes. And for once, I don't have to go, this is your only women's.
Hater and Sheeta.
Totally worth it. Yep.
AEW Women's World Championship. Finally, I don't have to type interim.
You do not.
That's so many words for one title, and now I don't have to.
Never existed even, because
Yeah.
Tony Storm wasn't interim either.
Yeah,
Technically.
sure. If you sure, yeah, no. What is to go kind of with the office here? What is an interim?
It doesn't
don't
exist
know.
anymore. They erased it
Exactly.
from history.
Yeah. I wish they could erase an AEW interim from history, the world one, and by that I mean just erase CM Punk.
Right.
Well, how did Hangman lose the title? I don't know.
Mystery.
What? Wait, Moxley had 3 reigns? What? You know? Anywho. Notables, there's a crowd count punches from Sheeta, followed by a missile dropkick from the top rope. You bet your ass the crowd said Ocho.
They did. Still
was
kept up
funny.
the Ocho gimmick. Yep.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Pump knee and a suplex from the apron by Sheeta, which is pretty cool. They said it was a brainbuster. It wasn't a brainbuster, but it was still cool. I don't know, suplex from the apron is just kind of cool.
It did look cool.
Because you get like a
There's no good way to land.
right. You get a good thud on there. You know?
Absolutely.
Sheeta and Hayter battle atop the corner. And Hayter drops her off with the gourd buster drop, and misses a diving moonsault, which is interesting for Hayter. Then Sheeta lands a running knee for a near fall. Ushigoroshi and a sliding lariat by Hayter for 2, which is pretty nice. Then she hits her backbreaker for 2, which is the thing they call the hate breaker. So that was pretty nice. Hayter ducks a katana, then goes for ripcord lariat. Sheeta ducks that, hits a German suplex, which is pretty nice. Baker comes in with the kendo stick, looking for interference. With Reba distracting the ref for a while.
Far too long. My
Yeah,
only criticism of this match.
Baker takes a springboard kick and a kendo stick shot. And then Sheeta goes for a move on the corner, then gets caught by Hayter with the powerbomb. She pulls the Brock Lesnar with the second powerbomb, kind of right after that. For a near fall, then we get another near fall off of a big lariat, which is really nice, and the crowd was hot.
Very much so.
After that flurry, then Hayter lands the ripcord lariat, which is enough difference to pick up the win.
That's right.
Then Storm comes out to even the odds after it gets overwhelmed. Then Saraya comes out.
Sorry, that's my other weak spot on this. The fact that we ended the show with Saraya being focused on. But I thought this was a really good match, a very entertaining main event. And interesting because both of these women really connect with the crowd, right? Despite Hayter being the heel, I guess. By the end, I was really into this match. Lots of cool And you know it's a good match because I definitely knew who was winning this match, but still some of the near falls near the end were awesome,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even though you know Sheeta's
The hot
never
crowd
winning.
really added a lot for me. I thought that would made it like feel really cool.
Yes, the crowd was awesome. So they came across as pretty evenly matched, right? And it looked like they deserved this main event spot. And their spots at the top of this division. We had cool high impact stuff from both. I think Sheeta's knee strikes look really good, and she came across as like the fiery, resilient baby face that you want. And again, the result was never in doubt, but the match was awesome. And I think Hayter's got this like kind of powerhouse mixed with technician style that is really sets her apart in this division. I think she's doing a really good job as the champion, and I hope she keeps going. I thought this was an excellent main event and a quality defense for her, right? And again, didn't love that Saraya came out and kind of became the focus of this, right? Because you just had Hayter successfully defending in an awesome match, but it ends up being about Saraya, which I'm not a big fan of. But really good main event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was really good too. In terms of women's matches, it's a very nice step up as well. In terms of star quality, time given, and even weirder the card placement. Surprised me that they got the main event slot here, but they definitely made the most of it. I think they deserved it. They earned it. The finishing sequence is really great as well. The crowd got really hot too, which I thought added to it for sure. It was a good first defense for Hayter too, which I thought it was weird. This is only her first defense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was still great, and
It
we
was.
can finally stop saying interim. I've typed it way too many times. Post match is nothing of note. Don't care for Saraya, but I thought the match was great. Really well done. Finally, women's match that feels worthwhile.
Yep.
Still the only one on the show, but again, at least it's a worthwhile one.
It was good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Overall in this episode, I was a little bit torn, but sort of as I went back through my notes, I ended up coming away thinking it was a pretty good show. The trios match was really good. I thought the main event was excellent. I liked the FTR gun match and the Moxley match for kind of what they were and the job that they were supposed to do. I think they did.
Mm-hmm.
Starks and Danielson had strong promos. I liked the Hobbs vignette, and the Dutt rap was funny, like as it was supposed to be, I think. So I didn't love the jazz stuff. A lot of Andretti, the swerve stuff wasn't really my favorite either. And ending the show with Saraya, but nothing was really bad, I don't think. But I can't put it in the A range. It was really close to a B plus, but I ended up settling on a B, like a good show. And I would recommend the main event for people to see, but not quite the like amazing level I'm hoping that Dynamite gets back to. But a good show nonetheless. You?
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. It was pretty segment heavy.
The first hour especially, I agree, was.
But I think like Starks was pretty good. I thought Danielson was good. And you had like small ones like MJF was good, Andretti was solid. Mox was solid. Joe was pretty good. Hobbs was cool. Then the only segment I really didn't like was the swerve one, which kind of pains me to say, but it is what it is. Like you said, like I thought the tag match and the Moxley match were solid. Like served
their purpose
enough.
Yep.
Hook squash wasn't really there. I thought the opener and the main event were both great, so I think that really helps them out a lot. And I think because of some of the things I didn't love, I think I will give it a B as well. But I think it was a pretty solid show, like average.
I was really close to going B plus, which is very good, right? So yeah, a good show from them. All right, well, let's move into our trivia segment each week. I made some trivia this week, and we like to call that Off the Top of His Head. All right, so I continued my sort of theme of taking relevant people and developing trivia based on them. So this week it is the Young Bucks. All right,
that'll kind of keep it not repeating stuff.
Yeah, well, it might. I don't know if I've talked about Young Bucks trivia before, but not that I remember. So I got, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20 questions, as I tend to. Starting out with this: what is their actual last name? I figured I'd stump you right off. I didn't know this. You don't know? Massey.
That sounds like something I've heard before.
Did not know that. Which brother is older?
Matt.
And by how many years?
3.
Close. I thought so too. 4. What year did the original Elite form, and who were the members?
Let's say 2017.
Very close.
16.
Other way.
18.
Correct.
Cool.
Members?
Was it just them and Omega, right?
Nope.
Or was it Cody?
I have
Cody Hangman.
Correct. One more.
Skrull?
Yes. Very good.
Oh, so excited. I just remember the t-shirts.
What was their tag team name on Impact?
Generation Me, duh.
Correct. And what were their individual names on Impact?
No, I don't know.
Max and Jeremy, and then a little bit after that, according to what I was looking at, they were given the name Buck as last name. So Max and Jeremy Buck. Which WWE program did the Bucks appear on in 2008?
ECW?
No.
Raw.
Well, actually, that is true. They did also. My next question, they were in ECW as well.
Okay.
But
Was
other
it on
than
Raw?
no,
NXT?
no. What's left?
SmackDown?
Correct. So, also in 2008, the Bucks appeared on WWE ECW, parodying which two WWE superstars?
That was when they paired DX, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Which members?
Michaels and Trips.
Correct. Which WWE superstars laid the Bucks out during that parody segment? Think of
Is it Morrison?
It was Morrison. I was gonna say think WWE ECW. Actually, when the internet went out, I was watching some of the
Dirt sheet.
my DVD of Rise and Fall of ECW.
Oh, that way, yeah.
While the
I
internet
like that.
was out, I was watching.
You were watching it on TV. I was like, that was weird.
No, I was bought the DVDs up when no internet because of the wind was crazy. Anyways, who was their opponent? And what? Sorry, what was this at? I missed some of the details. They had a match, I guess, and who was their opponent and what type of match was it in WWE?
I don't know.
It was Big Show, and it was like a last man standing, apparently, against both of them. I missed the details of what pay-per-view that was. I'll have to look it up for you later. That's what happens when I do it myself. At Final Battle 2009, ROH's first live pay-per-view, the Young Bucks picked up a big win over two wrestlers now in prominent roles with WWE. Who were they?
Show?
Tag team ROH at their first pay-per-view
War
in Final
Machine?
Battle 2009. No. Think
Redragon?
no. Think friends that are now huge in WWE
was
currently.
it Generico and Steen?
Correct. On March 8th, 2014, the Young Bucks defeated who to win the ROH World Tag Team Championship for the first time?
Briscoes.
You already said their name. Nope, not Briscoes.
War Machine.
Nope. You said it after that.
Redragon.
Correct. On March 4th, 2017, the Young Bucks lost the ROH World Tag Team Championship to which tag team that the Bucks are most often compared to?
Hardys.
Correct.
Hardys not.
On the same night that the Bucks signed their 5-year deal with AEW, they won their first championships in Mexico by defeating which team?
Lucha Bros.
Correct. The following month at Fyter Fest, the Bucks faced the Lucha Brothers again, this time in a trios match. Who was the third
Laredo
man
Kid
for each team?
and Omega.
Correct. Sorry, you said Laredo Kid if you didn't hear him?
Yes.
Correct. At which pay-per-view did the Bucks first win the AEW Tag Team Championships?
Full Gear 2020
And
against
who-
FTR.
There you go. Who was their opponents was next. The Bucks would regain the AEW Tag Team Championships by defeating who?
Jurassic Express in a ladder match at Road Rager this year.
Correct. I was going to ask on what special episode. So the final, I think, 6 things are their signature moves. So I give you the name and you describe the move like as if you're Excalibur, basically.
Sure.
Okay. BTE trigger.
Was, I guess, like a double Kamagoye, or from both sides, I guess.
So double wrist locks to, yeah. So explain that in more, explain like I'm 5.
Double wrist lock, knee from both sides.
Yep, pretty much. So it says double wrist locks to a kneeling opponent, transition into double short arm high knee strikes. Right? Meltzer driver.
Like a flipping spike tombstone.
Springboard, somersault, spike, kneeling, reverse
Springboard
pile driver.
450 spike tombstone.
Right, yes, they call it kneeling reverse pile driver. They break it down even more than tombstone. More bang for your buck.
Fireman's carry, rolling senton, 450 splash, moonsault.
Good. So that's the almost perfect rolling fireman's carry slam by Matt specifically, followed by a 450 by Nick, followed by a moonsault by Matt. Correct. I did not know this one. Early onset Alzheimer's.
No.
Which I shouldn't laugh at because that's not nice.
Oh.
Double and stereo super kicks to one or two opponents respectively. Anyway,
So it's just super kicks.
I guess.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know this was called anything, but if you think about one of their signature moves, you might get it. Crazy dive.
I don't know.
Matt front drop kicks opponent through the ropes, holds on, skins the cat, holds the top rope down for Nick
That, yes.
to hit a suicide
That's my
dive.
thing.
And then finally, I didn't know this one either, so I'm hoping to stump you. In sync.
No, but I think the name's funny.
But it is one of their. So if I say double hip toss, does that get you anywhere?
Oh yeah, it's the double hip toss, double cartwheel, double basement drop kick.
Right. So double hip toss, double back handspring, double drop kick to the face of a seated opponent.
Sure.
Very good. All right, that wraps up our trivia section on the Young Bucks this week, and we'll move back into talking about wrestling, other stuff we watched that we like and didn't like, sort of quickly run through a few different shows in what we like to call Highspots and Restholds. All right, starting with NXT, and I also watched Impact, and you just said you found one thing of note, so we'll start with NXT as we usually do. Highspot, I think you were watching sort of the opening match.
Wait, I got two. Never mind. I thought I won.
Oh, okay. You watched that, right?
What?
Axiom and Mello?
A bit.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Surprisingly, right? Kind of a showcase for Axiom. Like, he got 80% of this match, I would say, or maybe more. But he didn't pick up the win. There was some timely interference right at the end from Trick, who kind of, it looked pretty good, actually, just sort of slammed him down by the head as the referee was distracted. And then Carmelo hit 2 high-impact moves, including his leg drop finisher to pick up the win. And I thought Axiom looked awesome in this. His, like, a lot of different kicks that looked pretty good. Cool counters and transitions. The one we rewound and watched, I forget what the transition was, but it was something into something, and it looked really cool.
That is how a transition works.
Usually, yeah. I would have liked
confirm.
I really liked the match. I probably would have liked it even better if it had been more of a back and forth match, but I think they're just like further establishing Trick and Hayes as this heel act, because I'm assuming Hayes is going to be the one to take the belt from babyface Braun Breaker, but I guess we'll see. But I like that match.
What an alliteration.
A Resthold that you definitely watched with me, because how could you not, was the Fallon Henley bar issues, right?
That was so bad.
Did you want to try and summarize what was going on there?
I'm good.
Okay, so Briggs, Jensen, and Henley are in Henley's bar. Kiana James comes in with her assistant G or Gia, I don't know who it is. So they show up, and then she gives this long-winded, probably not at all accurate explanation. But anyways, my summary is she has done business person things, and now
it was so egregious.
Now she is in control of the bar, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like, blah, blah, blah. I went to the bank and checked this out, and you have a lien on your bar, and blah, it's mine until you can pay for whatever. So anyways, this ends up setting a match between Henley and James, which is going to be basically for the bar, right? If Henley wins, I think James pays all the debt or whatever. Yeah. And if, anyways,
she gets a whole bar.
The problem with this, I think you'll agree, is they were asking everybody to act here and nobody's good at it. Is that a fair assessment? Yep. Like, it's just like,
it wasn't good.
It's one of those things where if you were to parody it, it would look just like this, right? Am I wrong?
Maybe like a little more amped
leaning
up,
into it, but not
like
much.
It wouldn't be that much of a stretch.
It would be pretty similar to this if you were to parody it. So it was really not good at all.
No.
A high spot because it over delivered. I don't think it was amazing, and I think you watched some of it. The women's triple threat tag team match, I thought, largely because Tatum Paxley. Remember, she had a couple
weird flippy things that looked kind of cool.
Yeah, that she showcased a lot more athleticism.
A couple times the landing wasn't great, but like the motion looked cool.
We appreciated what she was pulling off. Like, to even do it at all was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, so, I like the standing one where she like had the assist from Ivy Nile. I thought that one was cool.
It was good. And then I kind of like the finish too. The champions,
I thought it was pretty good.
Retained because Nile has her dragon sleeper with like the wrist lock or whatever.
Yeah, where like she kind of clasped her hands behind her back, that kind of deal.
It does look like it would be hard to get out. So Carter counters it by like pushing off the bottom ropes and kind of rolling her up with the arms still engaged. So
yeah, the roll was a little messy, but I thought once she got her pinned, you can see her arms underneath her, which then I thought that made it look good.
Yeah, so it kind of over delivered, as I said. So I get the division's kind of a joke because I honestly don't know who else is in this division, but
at least they kind of made something out of it.
I thought the match was kind of fun, yeah. Kind of a high spot, I guess. Again, it was close. I don't know if you saw this. The Booker T sit down with Roxanne Perez.
Yes.
So Booker T's really annoying on commentary, but I didn't mind him as much here, right? He and Perez clearly go way back to when she was a teenager and joining his school, I guess, to learn how to wrestle. So it was just like, again, she really loves wrestling ever since she was a little kid, and her dream's been to be a champion in WWE and all that kind of stuff. So I just thought it was really helpful. She's coming across as a really strong baby face, right? It's adding more layers and depth to her character. And Booker T wasn't super annoying. So for me, this was beneficial, I think, for Perez,
Yeah.
right? So I put it as a high spot. Rest hold for me was Ava Rain, which, if you don't watch NXT, to remind you, is The Rock's daughter. She interacted with the group of Malik Blade, Idris Anafe, and Odyssey Jones. And basically, they're like the, hey, we're here to have fun and hit the clubs guys.
Yeah.
And she kind of takes exception to that for whatever reason. I thought she sounded pretty bad here. Eventually, the rest of Schism show up, and it sets up, obviously, a 6-man tag between these two groups that I don't know if anyone really cares about. But I guess the bottom line is that Ava Rain is getting experience, and I don't think she sounded really good, but this was a quick little segment. It is developmental, so this is the kind of stuff that should happen. So I don't really have a problem with it, but it wasn't good, right? So it's not that it doesn't belong on this show. It just wasn't very good. Another rest hold for me was Elektra Lopez. I don't think you were still around for this. She took on Indy
No,
Hartwell.
thankfully not. I forgot she was still a thing because she just kind of dropped off without
She
legato.
did. She still doesn't look like she can do very much. I think you were still there because she applied a chin lock, and I said this seems to be the standard women's match rest hold in NXT is the chin lock out of nowhere.
Yes.
So I guess what I took away from this is Indy isn't heel now because the commentary were using language like she's just standing up for herself and she's fighting a heel here, right? So I think the
Right.
message is
More definitive heel.
right. She's just a strong, standing up for herself. She's won't be pushed around anymore, baby face. So anyways, Lopez won in 4 minutes. So she pulled brass knuckles from the top turnbuckle pad and used them to knock out Indy like from an angle that the ref couldn't see. It looked like Indy was going to deliver like a belly to back suplex, and then she punched her in the head on the way down, and it was over. So cool, I guess. A high spot for me, I
Nice.
think you were gone for this. You would probably disagree because it's Briggs and Jensen, but I actually thought the match they had with New Day was a pretty decent TV tag match. One of the better Briggs and Jensen matches, I think. I'm kind of tired of the New Day, a bit exhausted by the same thing over and over again with them, but
It is, in fact, not a new day.
right, it's a very stale day. But there may be value in them being here, right? If they're gonna work with some of the younger talent and kind of help them out like they did here. And I would say that's Jensen because Briggs is a bit of a veteran, right? He's not that new, but
I do
Jensen's
remember
really
his
young.
name being around on the indies, yeah.
But he was in Evolve when they were
Yes, that's what it
affiliated,
was,
right?
yeah.
And he wore like the weird shoulder brace thing.
Yeah, and he was in the Breaking Out tournament, which
But
sucked.
so New Day, if they're gonna help younger act out, I guess there's some value to having them there.
Yeah.
A high spot
Which
for
is
me.
more than Ziggler really did, because Ziggler
True.
just kind of...
He just bugged me.
He just came in for and won the title, lost
Right.
the title,
And
bye.
was gone. High spot for me was Duke Hudson. It sort of looks like they're starting the Duke Hudson turn on Chase U that we have all seen kind of coming. So this week, being Christmas, students are lined up to give Professor Andre Chase gifts, but Duke Hudson didn't get him anything. So he sort of like convinces the guy in front of him something about like, you need to go to whatever building and clear up your scholarship issues. And here, I'll hold on to that gift for you while you go and clear this up. And then, of course, he gives the gift to Chase as though it is from him.
Dastardly.
And then he hugs Andre Chase, and he sort of gives a little bit of a hint of like a heel face sort of thing.
I don't know
right?
why he would join Chase U just to turn on them, though.
I know. So
That's the thing.
So it's kind of, and
It's like when Randy Orton joined the Wyatt family.
And for some reason it's working. I'm a bit surprised that I actually care about like this mid-card kind of comedy thing, but I think it's interesting.
But like, what's the goal of deceiving them?
I thought maybe it was to take the Hale away from the group because he seems to be really, really nice to her all the time and looking out for her, but I don't know. So this just seems like the beginning of it, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I guess so.
But for a mid-card comedy thing, it's kind of interesting. A rest hold was the end of the show for me. It was the main event was a segment, not a match, and it was Grayson Waller trying to do his best Bret Hart impersonation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw.
Except it was, I don't know if it was they wanted it to be obvious, but the second because he'd been wearing that big fuzzy sweater, zip up sweater the whole night. So the fact that he had it completely zipped up from the second I saw him, I knew exact because it was super bulky and you could see that he was wearing something underneath.
I
right?
saw also the way Breaker did the spear just didn't look great.
It didn't look great to me. So I don't know. I don't know if the match is going to be good or not. There's a chance it could go either way, but this final segment didn't really add anything for me. Do you want to sneak in what you have, and then I'll go to Impact?
So Resthold was they did an intergender match on Raw, kinda. It was Ripley and
I heard.
Tozawa.
And it was the standard like Impact
Tozawa didn't. Yeah, so wasn't great. And then the high spot was Bronson Reed returned to help Miz beat Loomis. I don't really know how he's gonna factor in on the roster.
And he went back to that name, right?
Yeah,
Bronson Reed. Yeah,
so that's cool because he was solid.
He was, and apparently he was doing really well in Japan. So I fear it's going to be like a Tensai thing, where they don't cash in on what a monster he sort of became over there, and it doesn't sound like they have.
Yeah, but
big
they did
plans
all right with him before.
They did
before he left. So I mean, there's a chance. And Triple H, I think Triple H liked him.
Yeah,
I think he was supposed to get.
I remember
shot.
You didn't love Jonah at first, but he kind of grew on both of us in his time in NXT.
Oh yeah, he sucked.
And then he was okay.
Yeah, and then he was cool, and then he lost a swerve, which made me happy. But
right,
it kind of sucked for him.
All right, moving on to Impact. High spot for me is Giselle Shaw and Deonna Purrazzo just really quickly went their separate ways. It was just like, I think they passed each other and basically went never again. And the reason I like that is because I like both of these women, but I think they're better off away from each other because for me, they're both like top of the card performers, and it's hard to have a partnership with two single stars, right, that are on the same level. So they need to either go it alone or form partnerships or groups with people beneath them so they can be the focus, you know what I mean? So I'm hoping that's what happens because I like both of them. High spot, really entertaining match. I'll tell you right now, for my wrestler of the year is Mike Bailey, and he faced Yuya Uemura this week. Really good singles match. Bailey was targeting Uemura's midsection, lots of kicks and knees and like all of those double knee strikes to the stomach that Bailey does that look awesome. And then Uemura looked really good as just being really resilient and hitting his own flurry of offense from time to time here. And Bailey just I know he's kind of buried in Impact Wrestling and not many people see him, but he has had an amazing year with just every match that the guy's in is
a little better than, I guess, just running indies.
Yeah, good to fantastic, everything he's doing this year. So it was good to see. Resthold, I don't even mention these generally, but Impact always does a flashback of the week that I usually fast forward, and I did this week extra fast because they decided to go with the debut of Hulk Hogan on Impact. I was like, really? Of all the things you could choose, this is what you chose. But anyways. And then, I have a couple more, I guess.
It's awesome.
Resthold, no surprise to anyone that listens to us every week. The continuing main event story, just too much Bully Ray again. And I was telling you in the moment, like, it's making me care less about Josh Alexander.
Which is kind of the reverse effect.
And I love Josh Alexander. I've wanted him to be the champion and the face of the company, but I'm just not interested. So this week, Bully Ray came down to interrupt the debut match of Hotch and Skylar as like a tag team because they're like, we're not getting anywhere in singles, so let's join together. So Bully ends up zip tying Hotch to the ropes. Alexander comes out because he's a dumb baby face to make the save. And it was all a setup, and Hotch now holds Alexander so Bully Ray can attack him. Dreamer comes out to try and even the odds. He ends up taking a low blow from Bully. And then there's a beat down of the faces with like a ladder and a chair and stuff. So the story they're telling isn't that bad. And I was actually happy for Hotch and Skylar to have something to do because I think they're someone. I'm always the person hoping Impact focuses on people I don't know really well and develop wrestlers.
That's kind of how they get. Like, I mean, obviously you can rely on name value to help them, but that's kind of that will kind of help them because then that's your guys kind of.
Right. And I like when they do that instead of like, hey, let's go to whatever 45-year-old Bully Ray one more time.
Whoa. And Tommy Dreamer, okay?
So and that's the other thing. They just ruined this for me. And I think Alexander kind of looks stupid because he's walking into things like this and generally is just kind of wishy-washy about this whole situation, right? Like, I don't think it's helping him in any way. Anyways, good news is for you, because you get to say it, is this all leads to guess what kind of match? Josh Matthews.
Oh, Full Metal Mayhem.
Full Metal Mayhem, which we'll always say Mayhem because Josh Matthews is incapable of saying it any other way when he was in Impact. So we're just going to get a bloodier, more violent match, which is fine, but I don't care. I just don't care about this story. And then high spot for me was Macklin because he's talked about, I think I mentioned last week, how he's done with trying to get anywhere by winning matches and getting noticed because he keeps beating former champions and it's not getting him anywhere. So this week he faced Rich Swann and basically full on let himself get double count out just so he could beat on Swan some more on the ramp. Like, fully acknowledge, yeah, I could go back in the ring right now, but I'm not going to. I don't care. He also was like shoving the referee and took out some security guards. So I like this idea that he's done trying to get people's attention by winning. He's just here to hurt people, right? And I think he's pretty cool in that capacity. He was also like swearing like crazy, and the amount they had to bleep it out, I thought actually like enhanced his little tirade at the end. And then a rest hold for me was the main event. It was Jordan Grace and Mickey James forced to team up together.
Can they coexist?
It's literally in my notes in quotation marks. It's exactly what it was. Ahead of their singles match against each other at whatever the next pay-per-view is. So they took on Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans. Really basic tag team with, there it is, a can they coexist story. It was basically Mickey James seemed to be avoid tagging in Grace, and then Grace eventually tagged herself in and won the match. She hit a muscle buster to Steelz, I believe it was. The match wasn't terrible, but it's just kind of a standard match that they tried to put in as a main event, so was not successful as far as I'm concerned. That is all I have. Do you have anything else? No more?
No.
And do we have any figuring it out this week?
Yeah.
All right, so we will head into our final segment where Jack gives us an update from the world of wrestling action figures in a segment we call Figuring It Out with Jack.
So they revealed a bunch of basics. Love that.
I know how you get excited for that.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can also just mention cause we usually open one thing, right, on Christmas Eve, so I got a new Rollins, which is my thing.
That is your thing. I feel like you have
Got,
more
like, a
of him
closable
than
jacket.
any other figure. Is that
I try.
Yes,
I try.
you definitely try.
Yeah, well, this is one of 3 Rollins I'm hoping for, so
Nice. Guess you'll find
fingers
out
crossed.
tomorrow.
Speaking of Seth Rollins, basics. He's got 2 basics because he's got a chase variant. Both of them look boring as hell. So first you got the standard one, which is literally plain black tights, and it's got white and gold kick pads and that weird knee flap thing that's on the new Elite.
Right.
Which is funny because that thing's from an Elite, right? So it's like this attachment that can go over the knee pad kinda, and it looks really nice with the sculpt and whatever. But then contrast that with this like the flat gold paint on the kick pads is funny because they had like the sculpted one on the Elite, so just the contrast is so great. So that's nice. And he's got like the white cast on his right or his left hand on the normal one, so it's like a really plain figure. It's like there's no designs on it. So then their excuse is like the chase variant is the one with some of the gold decals on the tights, and it's got the knee flap on the left knee and the white cast on the right. And so it's alright. They just reuse the head scan again. Like it's fine for basic, but I don't know, it's just really bland. And there's Roman Reigns with like the needle mover shirt with his paint on his shirt, and like that's a solid basic to me because that's not terrible. And the Commander Aziz, which is fine for basic, it looks pretty good. A big boy basic. Then Theory, which would look good because I think the head scan's solid because now he's got the goatee, and I like the attire color, but the torso is just really bad. I was showing you like just it doesn't fit. I don't like it. He looks odd. Aaliyah, I think the head scan's really nice, but I think the rest of the figure's horrible because it's just a lot of the women's ones especially they just lack depth because like they do it all with paint applications or like paint apps, so like there's no sculpts on there. Like anything that should be sculpted is just painted on, so it looks bad.
Right.
It just like I don't know. There's nothing to it. Then Nakamura, for basic 138, the last series was 137. He's got the red and white, which is solid. Just like he's got a bit of a giraffe neck, and then he's got
Nice.
white and black, which is like it's mostly good for a basic, but just like I said, the giraffe neck is a little bad.
Giraffe.
Yeah, then there's Edge with like these long legs and like just the way he like I really don't like the Edge. It's not great. He doesn't look good. Then McIntyre, it's just another basic one, not pun intended, I guess, but like it's just not a very adventurous. McIntyre reused head scan, a similar attire to what we've seen before, so it's not really anything there. Gigi Dolan again, like the flat paint apps look bad, and this time coupled with the bad head scan, it's just not great. And then JC Jane, actually, I think her head scan's pretty good.
Yeah.
But again, just like all the flat paint, like it doesn't look like there's as much of a sculpt on there. Other than the kick pads, actually might have some sculpt on it, but that looks solid. And then they showed like new images for Elite 100, which is cool because Andre, the Giant, he's got like it's like a suited Andre look with like this kind of plaid or like a checkered jacket, which is cool. And he's got like the Andre 87 belt,
Nice.
that he had for a bit.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool, and that looks nice. I like that. And then there's the Chase variant, like a teal jacket, which is cool. And he's got like the pink undershirt on both.
Has that belt been done before?
No, so all of the belts are new.
Nice. You'll like that.
Well, a couple of them are redone belts, but like they're different because like Becky Lynch with the SmackDown title, they redid the faceplate. Like I think it's smaller and also more detailed, so that looks nice. Her head scan's kind of crap, but she's in a white gear, so you forgive it.
Right.
And then the other reused belt is John Cena from like 05 with the spinner title, but this time now it actually spins and it looks better, so I think that's cool. Like again, it's at least different.
Yep.
Then you got Rock, which is like a pretty basic Rock Elite, but he's got like the blue jersey instead of the red one. And he's got the Brahma Bull title, which looks fantastic actually. So that's like kind of the excuse there. You get the Brahma Bull title. Then WCW Rey Mysterio in like a red, yellow, and green WCW Cruiserweight title again, first time. So that looks really nice.
Nice.
And then Stunning Steve with the long hair. He's got like the ponytail or whatever. And he's got the WCW TV title, which is nice. Well, which is the one that NWA uses now. So it's kind of funny.
Cool.
He's got a nice red robe. Then they showed renders for Razor and AJ, which we've already seen. Packaging images for the Unmatched Series 6, Owen Hart. Because it looked like the line was dead because there's been a lot of silence recently, but they were just being acquired by something else. So this is kind of when it's being finalized. Think of a Sabre kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So.
Sabre?
Yeah. So I think next year they're going to have some new stuff. And then also I think maybe ROH stuff too, they mentioned.
Oh,
so
yeah, that makes sense.
That's cool.
Yep.
Then they had like a digital sculpt for the Swerve figure coming, which was pretty sweet. I don't want Boudreaux and the other guy though.
I don't think you have to worry. It'll take some time before they.
Then also a render for Danhausen, which looks pretty solid, and some digital renders for some heads for Tony Storm, Brody King, Claudio, and the Acclaimed, which look solid. So, but then those are just early digital renders, so I'm not sure what those will look like. But
nice.
And there's packaging images for Elite 100, which is kind of cool. They'll all come with like a special artwork thing because Elite 100, because 100's like a big number, I guess.
It is.
And that is it.
Awesome. Well, that's going to bring us to the end of episode 127. We'll get this wrapped up and get up and talk to your aunt and uncle for a little bit. Obviously, our best of and worst of stuff, I think we're still going to try and do.
Yeah.
So we'll get around to that at some point. You can look for those. So yeah, I hope everybody has a great holiday, whatever you celebrate. I hope you're with friends and family and doing everything safely, and that everybody has a great new year if we're not back before then.
And if you're listening to us on the holidays, you must be really bored.
Well, they got extra time to endeavors that they enjoy, which is listening to us talk about wrestling.
Right.
We appreciate you listening, taking any time out of your week to listen to us. We'll be back with episode 128 for sure, and then some other stuff with best and worst of 2022 as well. So keep an eye out for that. Subscribe or follow or whatever you need to do to find out when that gets released. And I guess we will see you back here next Saturday. And until then, everybody, take care.